Light lines. I'm not drawing a perfect circle. I'm just going around adding a bunch of lines into my shape here. So there we go. I've got my circle. Now the next thing that I want to do here is I'm going to divide my circle in half. So I'm going to go right down the center of my page here. I'm sorry, my circle. And that's how I like to divide my pizza. Half for today and half for tomorrow. And then I'm going to divide it one more time. And this is how I like to divide whenever I have guests over. There we go. Now the next thing that I want to do here is we're going to start to work with actual baby Groot's facial features. So we're going to start off with his chin first. So for that chin, remember he is a baby, so we want these very round features. Think of this as kind of like a letter U shape. And bringing this down. Here we go, going right there to where my light line is. Here we go, there's my half letter U. I'm going to go around and do the same exact thing here. Creating a nice letter U shape, getting a nice rounded out chin. Just like that. So there we go, I have his chin there. Now the next thing that I want to do is I want to get that top part that kind of looks like spiky hair that he's got going on. So for that, I'm actually going to flare out my lines just a little bit, not too much. There we go. Just bringing out my lines here on either side. And now, Groot is asymmetrical, so that means he's not going to be directly centered if you were to cut him in half. Please don't cut him in half, he's adorable, don't do that. I'm just going to bring up a line here, passing the center line. Once I've passed it, then I'll go back and close that off, kind of creating a rooftop here. There we go. So this should kind of look like an asymmetrical shield if you guys got that. And right now, that's all we need. The next thing that we're going to do is start to work on his actual, like his eyes and his mouth and then his eyebrows as well. So what we're going to focus on first are going to be his eyes. Now his eyes are going to be nice and big. Now remember his pupil actually fills up basically the majority of his eye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in two circles here. Now half of my circle is going to go above my line and half underneath. Drawing in those circles there, where I have my eye line. There we go. So I've got my two eyes there. I'm going to go back and darken out the top lid. That's just by drawing in the little rainbow here, right at the very top. There we go. And then drawing in another rainbow right on the other side. Now we have a double rainbow. What does it mean? There we go. So I've got my double rainbow there. Now I'm going to go back and finish off the bottom part of my eye here. Picking my favorite line for my circle and just closing that off. Just darkening in that eye here. So there we go. I've got my eye, and I also want to add in the basically to fill up that eye, that pupil there. So I'm going to draw in a circle on the inside of the eye, kind of almost filling up that complete space there. There we go. This kind of reminds me of a cat's eye. You know, when a cat does something wrong and it like gives you like the really big eyes, they get ginormous, and it's like, I did nothing, and it's like their paws are literally covered in toilet paper, and you know they ruined the bathroom, and you're like, I blame you, you were the only one in here. And then I also want to add in a small little highlight here at the very top of the eye. Make sure you are placing this facing the same side, because if not, it's going to start to look like a weird hey, happy birthday. So we'll go back in and shade in that pupil there, as dark as you can. Now remember, these eyes are like the windows to the soul. So you just want to make sure that they're the focal point. And you'll see that we have a little white crescent moon shape kind of like shading around that eye. You can totally go back in and shade lightly around to give the illusion of that kind of hazel iris color that he has, or like an amber color. Now we also want to add in a small little line here, right above the eye, and this is to give the illusion that baby Groot has eyelids. So I want to add those in. Small. We want to keep these nice and close to the eye, so if you draw them a little bit too high, they'll start to look like eyebrows. And then we also want to do the same thing for the bottom, and if you draw these a little bit too far down, he's going to start to look like he hasn't slept in 80 years. And that's more like of a parent's job. There we go. Added in those small lines there. Now he looks like he's super excited. He just had a monster. He's good. Now what we want to do is you also want to give him a nice big smile. I'm going to use my circle kind of like my guideline. And I'm going to add in a little bloop, smile line. There we go. And then I'm going to go back in and just bring down my smile. There we go. Add in a cute little smile line on either side. And I can go back in and shade in the inside of the mouth there. There we go. Now that we have that in, I can also bring down 2 lines here on either side of the eye. That's just to give you a little bit of illusion of flatness to him. And then we also want to add in his eyebrows. Now I'm just going to place these very quickly, not too crazy. There's just going to be these 2 little curves right here, right above the eye. So I've got those 2 eyebrows. Now the next part that we want to do is we're going to start to work with that very wood texture. Now this is where you guys have the freedom. You guys don't have to follow me step by step. This is how I'll show you a little bit of kind of like tips and tricks, and you guys can totally go back and make this your own. Now I'm going to add in some triangles here all over the place. Maybe some skinny ones, some big ones, maybe a chunky one right over here. Totally have fun with this. Make this your own. Just add in a couple here and there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go back with kind of like a shaky hand and add in all these bumps and lumps to Baby Groot. Because remember, he is a very organic character. So I want to get rid of a lot of these flat edges. I really don't need them. These are just very extra. You don't need them. Make this fun. Add bumps all over the place. Because remember, he is a living and growing thing. So he is going to have all those different bumps and lumps. Now what I'm doing is I'm adding in that wood texture. I'm just adding in a bunch of lines here and there. Long ones, short ones. Totally have fun with this. Put these all over the place. Maybe some look like lightning bolts. Just don't put them too centered because then he starts to look like a wizard. There we go. Adding those in. All over the face. Just going back and forth. Just adding in a bunch of lines here and there. Now to make this look a little bit more three-dimensional, I also like to add in kind of like a number 7 here. And that's just by adding in that number 7 and giving this a little bit of dimension here. So I'm just adding in those number 7s and then going back in and shading in that space to give the illusion of thickness to the bark. There we go. Fabulous. And then if you want, you can totally add in some texture to those eyebrows. Totally have fun with this. Just adding in those lines going right on up from those eyebrows. Just makes them come out a little bit more. And you can totally add in his neck as well. This is extra credit. You don't have to do this, but I like to because I'm extra. There we go. Just adding that in with a little curved line right here at the bottom. And then adding in that wood texture as well to the bottom of the neck. If you want to add in a drop shadow, make it look a little bit more like a comic book. And a Baby Groot is a floor colossus, so that means he's a constantly growing tree, which means he's going to have little sproutlings that kind of grow off of him. So if you want to, you can add in some little leaves here, some here and there, kind of make this fun and awesome, make it look like he's growing, because hopefully in the next movie he might be a teenager. We don't know. I mean, he was cute when he was a baby, but I want to see him grow. Here we go. Add in all the curly cues, and then once you're done with your awesome drawing here, make sure you sign your name wherever you feel it fits best, and you are all done with your awesome drawing of Baby Groot. How'd everyone do? Questioning our life choices. Probably should have gone to like a ride. It's okay, totally. I want to see how everyone did though. So on the count of 3, we're going to have an art show. Even if you're not done yet, I still want to see all of you guys' beautiful art pieces, okay? So ready? 1, 2, 3. Baby Groot! These are super.
What's up, because back to your pencils, just like you found them. Put the pencils back in the spring. That'll help us.